going to be restructuring of the country, and we didn't see it, and President Buhari has done his 8 years and is leaving. We didn't see it. So I don't know if it will be the same thing with the subsidy. We will get the promise and we won't see it.
I said courage to do the right thing. Yes. I hope it's not just going to be a mere campaign slogan, which the president-elect said, whether you protest, whether you do not protest, we are going to remove the subsidy. But let's go back to the history of subsidy. You discover that every attempt made by past administration to remove it has always resulted in failure. I remember during President Jonathan, he tried to do the same thing, to move from maybe 65 naira to 142 naira. Eventually, there was a protest, so we dropped it to 97 naira. But you see, the problem we need to ask ourselves as a country is, how serious are we? You are spending about 400 billion monthly now on fuel subsidy. Between January and June or May, or June, it's expected I will have spent 3.6 trillion. It's absurd. And the way I look at it actually is, I have a maid in my house, and my maid is stealing and is stealing and is stealing. Every now and then he's stealing. I say, this maid is a thief. He's stealing. He's stealing. And I didn't do anything about it. Okay. You know, the conclusion would be either he's stealing and I'm benefiting from it. Or maybe he's stealing, I couldn't confront it because I am using her to cover something for me. That's where I look at it. How come nobody has been able to say, we are going to confront this? They mentioned that there is fraud. How many people have been jailed? If the president of this country said that subsidy is a fraud, the NNPC used 97% of its revenue to service all subsidy. Is that even sustainable? It's just common sense. And how come that all of us tends to behave as if we don't even have that common sense? You said something is a fraud, and yet nothing is done about it since 1992 to now. I think something is wrong, you know, somewhere. So I hope that the president-elect is going to have the courage to do the right thing.
So let's look at some implications. I mean, even the Minister of Finance mentioned this, some of it, when she made the announcement yesterday. The issue of budgetary allocation. We know that subsidy has been allocated for up until the middle of the year. So it doesn't look like it will go at the middle of the year. That means we're talking of supplementary budgets. Now, we're looking at the debt situation already. The budget deficit and funding of the budget is a headache. So, of course, that increases our debt situation. And then we were told that the federal government has already gotten the $800 million from the World Bank. And they were supposed to give it to, you know, about 50 million households to help them buffer the effects. So what's going to happen to this? These are some of the immediate questions, you know, that arise from this.
All right, we read it, we heard about it. The $800 million is to be borrowed or has been borrowed. Hopefully it's not been spent, okay? Because when you take such a decision at the 11th hour of your administration, it puts you in a bad light, whether we like it or not. No matter how well-intentioned, people begin to look at, oh, why are they doing this? Because we have seen that there seems to be a convention that when some administration is about to leave, that's when they go about borrowing. And we talked about giving people 5,000 or how much. Maybe we talk about 50 million Nigerians. So if you have about 133 million Nigerians in multidimensional poverty, and you are only going to help 50 million Nigerians with about 5,000, you know, naira, what are we really talking about? And when you look at this subsidy thinking that we discussed, our consumption is 35 million barrels per day, 34 million liters per day, okay? The subsidy covers 59 million. So we have about 24 million that can be classified as fraud. All we need to do, let's even say we want the subsidy to continue. Okay, we're going to say it's 35 million that we consume per day. It's not going to exceed that 35 million. So we want to investigate what happened to the 24 million. Who are the culprits? And somebody is able to take an action to say, you know what, we have jailed X, Y, Z, we have closed down this business, we have closed down that business. The man in the street That's what we have to understand. That man on the street will not mind to pay the actual cost of petrol because he knows that, yes, I'm paying, I'm getting something in benefit, and those who are fraudsters, who are causing trouble and headache for us in this country, they are in jail. But why is very difficult? Over the years, for almost 25 years, or more than that, thereabout, why is it difficult to remove subsidy? Because you discover that those who need to sanction it are beneficiary in one way or the other. Maybe they help them to fund the campaign, maybe something else, and all of that. So I do not think that the solution is 800 million. This government needs to be transparent. This government needs to come out and say, we have borrowed 800 million. Okay, this is where the money is. Or we have not borrowed that 800 million, we are just in the process. But Nigerians need to know, okay? And if that is not fully disclosed, because now, yesterday they say, okay, we are not going to remove subsidy again, which is fantastic. But tell us, what have you done with $800 million? Have you borrowed it? If you have borrowed it, what's going to happen to it? That's what I think this administration needs to do.
All right. I can tell that this is a very long conversation that we would have to stay on for a while. Mr. Lukunle Ario Iyanda, yes. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for going through the trouble.
That's all right. It's the price we have to pay sometimes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.